Hey everybody. So one of the things that's really important for lines and actually a lot of other types of functions is how steep the function is. Bam, bam. Like here's a steep line. Here's a line that's not so steep. Here's a really steep line. Here's a steep line going the other way. Like mathematicians just need a more precise way to talk about it rather than it's kind of steep or it's steep going downhill or all that. So that's the name that they give that concept is slope. Slope is just a number for how steep a line is. So let me actually do two things. First of all, what does slope mean? What does it tell you? If you remember our song, understanding, this is not erasing very well, understanding slope is easy as apple pie. As x goes up by 1, it's what the y is changing by. So like let's say a line has a slope of 2. That means, let's say the line goes through this point right here. That means as x goes up by 1, the y is changing by positive 2. 1, 2. So a line with a slope of 2 would be this steep. A line with a slope of 3 would be, here, let me just say, let's say it goes through this point. As x goes up by 1, now my y would be changing by 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Can you tell? Yeah, you might be able to tell it's even steeper than this line of 2. And that makes sense, right? Because 3 is bigger than 2. What about negative? Let's say we had a line with a slope of negative half, negative 0.5. What would that look like? Well, if the line is like right here, if a line goes through that point, that means as x goes up by 1, now my y is dropping down by 0.5. So, bam, like that. And you can keep going too if you want. As x goes up by 1, another 0.5. As x goes up by 1, another 0.5. As x goes up by 1, another 0.5. So, I only did it for 2 points up here, but you can do it again as much as you want. And you see that, and by the way, can you tell, first of all, since it's negative, the line is going downhill. And secondly, it's a much less steep hill. And that makes sense, right? Because it's only 0.5, so the y is only changing by 0.5 each time. So that's what slope means. Now, how do you calculate it? How do you get like that amount that y changes as x is going up by 1? Well, it's the change in y divided by the change in x, okay? That's kind of like the phrase that people say, but how does that play out? Let me show you. I gave you a different way to remember it that I was hoping would be a little easier. That I was hoping would be a little easier for you to remember. Stack them, subtract them with the y's on top. So here's how that plays out. Let's say I've got 2 points here. Let's say I've got the line's going through 2, 7, and it's also going through negative 3, 4, okay? So we have a line that goes through 2, 7, actually, you know what, can I just show you what the line looks like? 2, 7, so over 2 and up 7, and negative 3, 4. So what's the slope of that line? It's kind of hard to eyeball. It's probably a decimal, and they usually are. But if you do stack them, subtract them with y's on top, you can totally do it. So first I stack them. So 2, 7, negative 3, 4. Uh-oh, it's about to get loud in here. That was the end of the class. Okay, and then, so I stack them. Now I subtract them, but with the y's on top. So x coordinates, y coordinates. So my y's need to be on top. 7 minus 4. And my x's need to be on bottom. And I'm subtracting them, so check this out. I'm going to have 2 minus and negative 3. Don't drop a negative there, right? Sometimes we'll have 2 negatives in a row. Now, you can use a calculator to do the rest. I don't care. I'm just going to do it in my head. 7 minus 4 is 3. 2 minus a negative 3 is 5, okay? And I happen to know what that is as a decimal. It's 0.6. So that tells us, first of all, that tells you the slope, right? If you're doing y equals mx plus b, now you know that the now you know that the m is 0.6, right? But it also tells you how much the y is changing by. As x goes up by 1, my y is changing by about 0.6 every single time, okay? Yay! Look, that's it. Like, that's slope. I guess there's 2 other things that you can think about or know, I guess. Like, let's say I had done this in the reverse. Like, can you tell I took top minus bottom, 7 minus 4, and then top minus bottom, 2 minus negative 3? That's fine. you can also do bottom minus top and bottom minus top. Watch. If I can just shift this over a little bit. So if I do bottom minus top, now I'll have 4 minus 7 and negative 3 minus 2. This, I'll write it down here. This is going to be negative 3 over negative 5. But here's the thing. Guess what a negative divided by a negative is? It's positive. So we get the same exact answer. 3/5, also known as 0.6. It's the same exact answer as we got over here. Okay? So you can do top minus bottom, top minus bottom. Great. You can do the other way. Bottom minus top, bottom minus top. Do not mix them, though, in the same slope calculation. What I mean is this. Okay, this is bad, right? This will give you a wrong answer. If you do, for the y's, when you're doing the y's on top, you're saying, oh, here, let me erase this now. You're saying, oh, I'm going to do top minus bottom here, and then I'm going to mix it up and do bottom minus top. Do not do that, kid. You'll get the negative of what you should be getting. Here, check it out. Because look, this is a 3, and this is a negative 5. All of a sudden, we're dealing with a negative number, not a positive. So do top minus bottom, or for both of them, or bottom minus top for both of them, but don't mix. Oh, the other last thing I got to say on this is if the table is written horizontally, that can be confusing to kids. So let me just show you an example. To save space on a page, a lot of times when people are making tables, they'll write them sideways like this, okay, horizontally. So, but watch here, it doesn't really matter. 4, and let's say this is negative 10 to, oh, wait a second, I got to be careful here. That's fine. Okay, negative 10 to 14, okay? Great. So you can always just write this vertically if you want. It's probably the safest thing. You only need 2 points. Like, I don't know. I've seen these so often, I can just tell you. Can you see where 2 points are on this thing? One of them is 0, negative 10. The other one is 2, 2. Like that'll work. Like there, I've stacked them, and I'm ready to subtract them with y's on top. But if you don't trust yourself, which I get, you can also just rewrite this thing vertically. So you can have the x and the y like this. Your x's go 0 to 4, so just do it, 0 to 4, but down the line this time, right? And then your negative 10 to 14, negative 10 to 14. Okay, negative 10 to 14. And then, can you see now that we have the same points that I have over here, okay? And then you just proceed like normal. Stack them, subtract them with y's on top. I'll do it really quick. Okay, so negative 10 minus 2, that's my y's on top. And then 0 minus 2 on bottom. So that would be negative 10 minus 2 is negative 12. That's negative, oh, it's a perfect, that equals positive 6. Okay? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I hope that helps you compute slope, stack them, subtract them with y's on top. You should be good to go. Okay?